Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast. We talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. Today, we are going through the James Lipton Inside the Actor Studio questions in honor of his memory. And we interview Livio Ramondelli, artist and creator of The Kill Lock, and artist on Transformers and Star Wars comics. I'm Blade O'Neill.
I'm Ken Brown.
I'm Lance O'Neill.
What a fun episode we have today. Aside the fact that earlier, I think it was last week, James Lipton, host of Inside the Actor Studio, passed away at the age of, was it 90 or 93? Either way.
I know it's a good life either way.
90, I think it was 93 because I think I'm getting confused that Max von Sydow passed away this morning at 90.
Wow.
Max was, of course, in Star Wars, Game of Thrones, The Flash. Gosh, like what a career! Like I can't even name you the things you've probably seen him in. So Inside the Actor Studio was always such a fun show. I mean, I know you're not actually super familiar with it, right? No. Right, Ken?
What you're telling me remind me of Between Two Ferns.
Oh my goodness. But you watched it though, right?
Like a little bit. It was a while ago though when I watched it.
Oh, you guys are killing me. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, you can also notice there's SNL skits where Will Ferrell plays him, and those were always.
I did see some of those. So
really funny. Yeah.
When you told me that, I go, oh yeah, I remember that. But the actual show, I'm not too familiar with.
Yes, that was fantastic.
It's kind of like that Chris Farley stuff where Chris Farley would sit there and he did a little thing like he'd ask questions and he'd get the questions wrong. They go, God, like that. Like there was like that type of an homage to it too as well. So like when you take a bath, does your hair look the way you want it to? God, that's a stupid question. Oh God, then they go, dude, it's okay, it's all right. I just want so bad this to be good.
It was the way Will Ferrell played James Lipton. It was like overly serious. Like he would just kind of stare, and then like maybe he would like laugh at something, you know. James Lipton got a kick out of it. Actually, I was reading up on some of his stuff before we started recording this. But if any of you guys are familiar with Inside the Actor Studio, they all ended the same.
Okay.
In that he asked the same 10 questions to every actor, which was always funny. We're not going to do all 10. But I'm going to go through a few of these questions, and we're going to see what kind of answers we get for each other. So one of these questions, and I'm starting with my favorite one, because I think this is going to be easy for all of us here. So what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Do you want to go first, Lance? Or okay. Man, dude, if I had the talents, we talked about this a little bit later, I think, with the Livio interview, but as a kid, I so badly wanted to design cars because I remember I was a Hot Wheels kid. I used to look at Car and Driver, TV Guides, just everything. I was like a car fanatic, and I don't know why, but I just like the artistic value of different car designs.
I mean, if Elon Musk can do it, so can you, right?
Yeah, now like there's auto. I know exactly what he has to. Yeah, I was like that. Didn't he do the Tesla? Elon Musk, is he the one that created the Tesla car?
Mm-hmm. And he has a box truck thing that he has now.
Yeah, I get like one of those like super drills to drill underground to get that train going for him too as well. Correct? But
I believe that was.
He wants to do that tunnel, underground tunnel.
He's the one that wants to do it.
Oh, right? The long tunnel thing, like that shoots you across the country.
Yeah, go in Vegas in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was him, but that's a fantastic idea.
Yes.
I wouldn't do it.
Why not?
Dude, what happens if something goes wrong? You're traveling at that speed to get to Vegas from New York in 3 seconds. You're dead.
I was thinking from Phoenix
to Vegas. Yeah, from Phoenix to Vegas. I think it's something like under 30 minutes to get from Phoenix to Vegas.
That's awesome. That's from Vegas.
Yeah, you can get
to from Phoenix,
like
not New York.
You can get to New York like 2 hours.
Teslas are one of the most unreliable cars. I'm not getting in anything that is going to take me that fast with somebody who has an unreliable car company.
It's all magnets, though, on this. The train deal.
You don't have to be the first person. You can just be
a person
later. Like wait for the first few fatalities and then
like do the year test, like never buy a brand new car the first year's out because they can work out all the kinks for that second or third year. Then I got a good car now. But car design to me is like that's a major art, and I think that's what kind of eventually led to me getting into other forms of art. Was it's like, oh man, dude, like one of the things I thought was super cool was Pontiac Firebirds. And you started looking at the history of it, and they keep on redesigning it to appeal to new audiences. Excuse me. But, you know, like the Knight Rider Firebird, for instance, like going from the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am to the Nightbird Firebird, which was completely a redesign of the car, but it was still a Pontiac Firebird.
Yeah.
To me, that was like super fascinating to see, like, what makes them decide how they're going to roll out a brand new look to these automobiles.
Well, look what they did with the Camaro.
Yes.
It was gone for like, I don't know, 10 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's a Camaro, completely new. Let's start in a Transformers movie and make this thing popular.
Yes.
And now they're supposedly, I think they're discontinuing them now.
They're going to stop them again? That's like heartbreaking because the Firebird never got brought back.
And I love the Camaros.
Yes, me too. I'm a huge Camaro fan.
I like the new Camaros. I think I've said this before. Like I never really cared about cars. So I was never a car guy. I mean, just give me a van so I can hold all my stuff for all my friends or whatever. But when they re-released the Camaro, I think it was around the Transformers movie, right?
Yes.
I did. I was like, wow, like this is a really nice car. Like I'm not even into cars, but then I test drove it and I was like, oh, suddenly I do not want this anymore because it's so shallow. And like my first car was a van. So like I'm used to like really seeing things, but like you sit so low and the windshield is so, I mean, I guess I call it shallow. It's short. Like I just feel like I can't see anything.
And don't get me wrong. Like I'm not excited about how fast a car goes or how it feels, just about more or less the artistic design. To me, that was said too, is like that. It's like, to me, like, it's weird. Like certain people think of certain things like vases. Oh, look how beautiful that vase is. When I look at cars, I try to look and like, wow, the articulation of that design is like super different. Like a Toyota Camry, for instance, dude. If you watch the evolution of the Toyota Camry, it's kind of like it's like evolution of society in a way.
I have a Camry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a perfect example is like that. Camrys now have every time they come up with a new Camry, this car's always been gorgeous. And yet somehow they always up the ante of making it an awesomer looking car.
I don't know if I call it always gorgeous, but I
Toyota,
do
it's
like
one of their premier vehicles.
I do like my Camry. It's a 2017, and when I first brought it up, I was like, I'm not owning a Camry. And I was like, you know, it's like I'm not into cars, but like, yeah, it's not bad actually. And we got I think it's called the LE edition. So the inside is like
also it's got all the loaded options in it.
What's on the inside? It's what's the luxury brand for Toyota?
Oh, the Lexus.
Lexus. So like the inside is like a Lexus. It's got like the stitching on the dashboard. Like this car was really cheap, by the way. Don't think I was like balling when I bought this. I got a smoking deal, and I'm a pain in the ass like when it comes to negotiating.
Yeah, because I think there's a difference between like car snobs and people that just appreciate the artistic design of cars. Do you know what I mean? Because I never wanted to become a car snob in any way. Like I don't need to drive around in a Jaguar, or I don't need to say like, hey, to me to feel like that I'm accomplishing something, that I need to drive in a Mercedes or a BMW. But I admit I do have a Camaro, and that's something to me was like a bucket list thing like that. Since I've loved Firebirds and I would love to own a Trans Am, but Pontiac unfortunately crashed during the crisis, you know, of the mid 2000s.
That's well, so like,
no pun intended. I guess two crashed, right?
Yeah, right. The Camry, you know, is technically my wife's car, but you know, it's our car. The one that's my car is a Pontiac. It's a Pontiac Vibe, which is essentially the same thing as the Toyota Matrix. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to get rid of it because they don't make Pontiacs anymore. Yes. It's like the 2007, you know, Pontiac's a little, you know, it's a wagon. You know, it's a little hatchback 4-door. But like, why would I get rid of it? Like, I'm not going to get any money for it.
Yes.
You know? Especially at this point with over 200,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's something about, I don't know. I love cars too. Like car design. My favorite car is probably a Corvette. I might never have one, which is fine, but I do want a Camaro because Camaro I think was like my second favorite car. I don't like the old Camaros though. I hate how they looked.
Okay,
I was never into Camaros at all. And then the new Camaro came out. I was like, this is my style. And I think it just has to do with the I don't know, the front's really nice, but the back of the car, there's something about it that I really like. Same thing with the Corvette. I always love the back of the car. And the new Corvettes, I like them, but they look nothing like a Corvette. They literally look like Lamborghinis. I don't know what they're doing, but I don't know. It's just a completely different step in the whole process. I don't know what they're doing.
What do you think about the revival of the design of the muscle car? Because I think like that's what a lot of things that are happening that are appealing to a lot of car connoisseurs now is like the cars that they loved growing up are now back, like the Dodge Challenger. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not a fan of the Challengers.
The Charger's nice though. The Challenger's. I appreciate that somebody appreciates the Challenger.
I don't like the boxiness of it.
I love boxing.
I hate boxy.
And I think it kind of started with the PT Cruisers and the Chrysler Prowlers.
Totally. And then
the
they
Dodge
failed with the
Vipers.
Cruiser.
PT Cruiser is garbage.
Yeah, but
we
it's
had,
like, too,
had
it's like
one.
that.
It literally broke down like every month. It was terrible.
And if they would have built it to last, that car, I think, would have gone over so much better because it was appealing to an older demographic's love for the automobile.
I loved the way the PT Cruiser looked, and I was like, man, I'm old enough to drive. Like, I would love to have a PT Cruiser. Nope. Like, yeah, they were garbage. I knew people with PT Cruisers. They always broke down, like just like you were saying. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't understand what took so long. Like what happened in the 90s? You see, like, 90s cars drive around, like, gosh, it was just like a dark days for car designs. Like, they were cool in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. And then right around the 80s, like, oh, in the 90s, like, oh, here's a Geo.
Yeah.
I think it was like the same thing with fashion, though, right?
Yes.
and even music. I mean,
No, because I've been getting a lot into 90s music, and like I didn't realize what I was missing, especially with like No
90s
Doubt
music.
and I've been getting the Cranberries over the last few weeks.
Yes.
Which we're probably going to talk a little bit about next episode there.
I don't know, man.
But yes, I mean, like NSYNC, Britney Spears, sure.
The 90s.
Sure, I don't know. It was a rough time for everything, I think.
Yeah, the 80s and the 90s, I think there was the tail off of the fact of that the emissions and the cars started going from big V8 emission gas guzzling, the gas prices spiking up, in the 80s and 90s, kind of rebuilt the whole mission statement of a lot of car companies. And unfortunately, when they build something so long at a consistent rate and they have to like go from 8 cylinders down to 4 cylinders to get better gas mileage, V6s, they try to how to tweak to get more power, but then try to maintain that gas mileage. They didn't know what they were doing, and they're forced by government regulations to reinvent their engines.
And that's why they got rid of station wagons.
Yes, and it took like 10 to 20 years for them to figure out how do we refine these to make them last. And so you had a lot of cars that are 80s and 90s lemons. Like, remember the Yugos back in 1987 at all? Oh my gosh, dude. They were trying to build a car for under $4,000. And like, it was funny too. Saturday Night Live, speaking of Saturday Night Live earlier, they did a skit on it called the Adobe, and the car was made of clay. So like made their own like, clay things. They're making fun of the Yugo, but it's just, if you build a car that's not going to last, it's not going to last. Cars aren't disposable though either. And so car companies had to start building for repair records again.
Yeah, no, it was a dark times for cars for sure.
Yes, but I'll stop there.
And the government ruining everything. Lance, how about you? What profession would you like to try in an alternate timeline here?
In an alternate timeline.
I'm making this like comic book related now.
Yes.
That's a good question. See, I've
It's like Crisis on Infinite Lances.
into the Spider Lance.
Yes, into the Spider
Okay,
Lance.
off topic. That reminds me, like we used to make stupid home movies when we were kids.
Oh my god.
Yes.
And like we would reenact scenes from like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. We would make up our own stuff. I think that's what got me into filmmaking, and then I moved on to commercials and stuff because that's what actually makes money. But after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen came out, we only saw it a couple of times. We made our own version of it called League of Extraordinary Lances.
Nice.
And
That's
we
cool,
had
dude.
Lance play every single like super person within. So like, like he
That
was
is
like
awesome.
So I had like the invisible Lance and oh gosh, were you also Sean Connery's character? I think like
Mystery
you
Lances.
Lance played every
That's
every
cool.
character.
Nice.
I don't know what we were doing, but yeah. So we had this whole trailer like the League of Extraordinary Lances, and then like he was Captain Nemo, and he was the Invisible Man, and he was Dr. Lance and Mr. Hyde or whatever. Anyway, fun fact, off topic. But what would you like to be?
Well,
Besides an extraordinary Lance.
I guess sticking to that, I think it would be cool to have been in more of like maybe acting.
Oh, that's cool. Yes.
Or even like doing stunts.
That would be
Because
awesome.
I think that was something that I always loved as a kid to do like weird things. I think even when we did some, like when we going back to when we used to film things. Remember the scene that we did with the when I was Gandalf and you were
Yes. So we were kind of like makeshift. We were doing makeshift special effects. So what it's referring to is we reenacted the scene in the Fellowship of the Ring where Gandalf is trapped on top of Orthanc. He's a prisoner of Saruman. So I played Saruman because I was Christopher Lee. Lance was Gandalf, and so the top of our bed was the roof of Orthanc.
Nice,
right? And I don't know if we were using like wiffle bats or what for like the staffs and stuff. Just like on a budget. We had probably bed sheets wrapped around us for the wizard cloaks. But there's a scene where Saruman throws Gandalf with his magic, and Gandalf is hanging off the edge, where like his heels are against it and the rest of his body is off of the bed. So what we did is we set up a chair that you couldn't see, and we had the camera at such an angle that his back was like leaning against a chair, right? And so since the camera angle was up, you couldn't see this chair that was underneath him. So It looked like he was just like floating with the heels of him were like on the bed, and he's lying down flat. I don't know if I explained that.
Yeah, totally.
But
saying, dude.
He's laying like that. And it came out really good. It
came out amazing. Like you couldn't tell. Like you had no idea. It looked like
chair there.
It was just I was being held up by invisible strings or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was like things like that I kind of like really enjoyed doing. And we always used to like, I don't know, I was always athletic, right? I played college baseball and I could play college sports. But I don't know, I always felt like either acting, because I do enjoy, doing stuff like that, or doing like being a stuntman. I think that would be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Although I don't like, potentially killing myself.
Yeah, and unfortunately that seems to have happened a couple times now.
You guys got to start posting your videos of the past as like a YouTube channel of some of the things to do.
I have a bunch of things actually over here, and I bought a converter to do some of these, because I found this tape of me, him, and my cousin doing the Dooku. The Count Dooku fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan in Star Wars Episode 3.
I want to see these things, dude.
I was going to add the lightsaber effects to our really bad movie, because I figured out how to do it in After Effects. I'm just having a hard time. But I thought it'd be funny to have this really bad put together thing, but the lightsaber effects are good. I thought that would be funny. So I am actually working on that.
I think like 7-year-old us would really appreciate that.
Yes.
Like, wow, those are cool. Those are cool effects. For me, I almost wished I could never give up drawing. Like it would have been cool. I wanted to be an artist, like when I was little. I don't know if like that was part of like getting into comic books. I mean, I think that's something we've all, probably explored at some point. I don't know. I just kind of let it go at some point. Like, even though like I did good at art and stuff, but I mean, like acting and production has been my artistic outlet. So like I've always had to have, something like that. So I definitely don't regret it. Don't get me wrong. Because now, as far as professionally goes, like
you're doing it.
I was going to say, like I do some really bad storyboards when I want to convey my point once in a while. Like they're really bad, but they get their point across, and it's part of my paycheck sometimes. So, but something completely off the beaten path, I think I would, if I didn't have any kind of talent, I think I would like to try, oh my gosh, that came out so wrong. I did not mean to say that this next thing I'm about to say is talentless. Please do not take it that way. But dog grooming. I think whenever I shave my dogs and shampoo them, like it's very zen and it's easy. And I know it bothers my allergies really bad, so I have to like wear a mask or whatever. But like, it's just very zen. What are you laughing at?
It's just such a weird thing to say.
No, dude. A lot of people love animals, though, dude. And that's like, especially if animals more or less calm you and are therapeutic.
Well, I could never be a vet. Like I don't want to stick an animal with a needle. I don't want to operate on them. I don't want to do any of the gross things that come with veterinary, work. But grooming I could do.
Okay, I guess I can kind of see it. But I mean, a lot of dogs do not like getting groomed.
That's true.
I know, like all 3 of my dogs, I have to like, no, stay still. But it's still very just zen.
What about like Westminster dog show training?
Oh no.
Dude.
So I can kind of feel what you're saying, because when I first started going to college, I originally went to school for physical therapy, and the reason why I went to physical therapy and not, I was going to be a trainer, or I was thinking maybe like doctor or something like that.
Yes.
But then I realized if something happened like on the field and some dude like broke his leg and it was pointing the wrong direction, I'm not dealing with that.
You don't want to deal with compound fractures.
I can't deal with that. No. But what I really enjoy is helping
Just
people.
made me nauseous.
Yeah, sorry. So I was like, you know what I can do? I can get into physical therapy. I'm still like helping people. It's just after that process. And once they've, fixed it and it's all good to go, and then I can train them. So I can kind of see what you're saying. Like, I don't want to like deal with trying to fix somebody and potentially make it worse or something. So I guess I feel you a little bit on that.
For sure. All right. This became a much deeper discussion than I even anticipated. So I think we'll try to knock out just a couple of these before we cut to Livio's interview here. And if you don't have an answer, we can just move on. How about a favorite word or a least favorite word?
My least favorite word, I guess, would be anyways. Whenever someone says anyways, because I feel like it should be, it's anyway, right?
I think so.
You wouldn't say anyways. It'd be anyway. Yeah. It just kind of drives me crazy.
No, I think you're right. Ken, you got one for what? Love or hate?
Love or hate. I don't know.
Or a phrase?
A word that like popped in my head for some reason. Like I always thought was a cool word was cornucopia.
Cornucopia?
Yeah.
It's like the thing that holds the fruit?
Is that what it is? Cornucopia? Oh no, it's like it seems like a
So?
Like people used to maybe people use it wrong all the time. And that's why I like it. For some reason, it's a cool word, but nobody knows how to use it. Uh-huh. Like when someone's like, "Oh my gosh, dude, I got a cornucopia of things I want to do today," which is weird. And so I'm saying too, like, what the heck does cornucopia even mean?
I think it's because it holds multiple like
terminologies.
Items. So it's like saying, "Oh, I have all these random things to do. I have all these things to do." It's saying multiple, I believe.
Yes, and then words that I don't know what the meanings are for whatever reason fascinate me because who comes up with them? Do you know what I mean?
Some dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Language is a mystery. Cornucopia is the thing, in Thanksgiving that holds all the, it's the horn looking thing. So it's like, I have a cornucopia of comics and like I have like this abundance,
Nice.
It's because it's a symbol of plenty consisting of a goat's horn overflowing with flowers, fruit, and corn, according to my Google search I have here.
And I think the word I hate the most is two. Because there's so many different ways of using it.
Not there.
Exactly.
Not there,
TOO, TO, TWO, TU if you're speaking in Spanish. You know what I mean? And trying to get that when you're writing essays. I used to hate that when I was in school. It's like I'd get the little circle and the red. Wrong proper use of the word two. See, like, between TO and TOO.
It's like the opposite for me because like I'm obsessive over which form people use and it drives me nuts when they don't. And the same thing with their and your. But I was an English major.
And I memorized it now because it took me forever. I had to like be corrected like 56,000 times, but like me too is two O's and I want to go to is one O.
Yes, exactly. I'm honestly really struggling with the favorite word and least favorite word, but I do know what noise I hate.
What's that?
When somebody is filing their nails. Like it's, I feel it in just like this. I'm gesturing to like my entire nervous system. Like I can feel it in my arms. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Like I can't even describe like a nail file, like the.
So you don't want those chalkboard guys like everybody else like that. You hear the nails going down the chalkboard.
Just seems like so obvious. Like, I mean, that's gotta suck for everybody, but filing nails, like, like I just felt it in my gag reflex. Like, I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. A noise I do love is I like city noises, like busy streets. Cause like to me, that's like my version of silence. Cause I grew up on a busy street in Queens, New York. So like, I don't even notice it. It's like, is white noise, I guess the right term. Like to me, like that's the silence, that's the comfort, and like airplanes. Like I didn't even realize that I'm in Luke Air Force Base's flight path until I started doing VO work here. And I was like, oh, the plane just went by. I got to wait for it to go by. Like I never noticed the planes because we were in LaGuardia's flight path, and like we had planes flying really low. Like I like city noise. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm the same way. I love city noise. I always have to have my TV on before I go to bed because it's too quiet everywhere. And if I don't, then I hear everything a little tick in the house. I'm like, somebody broke into my house. What's going on? What is that? So I need the noise. So I agree with that. For me, the noise I hate the most, and it's going to be kind of weird. It's almost not a noise. Noise is vibration, but it's whenever anything like gets caught on a carpet or like tugs on a carpet, just like drives me crazy. Like the noise it makes, because there's something about the feel of like your nails on a carpet that like it reminds me of that. It literally like hurts my teeth just thinking about it. Like I can't even. I don't even know how to describe it.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah, dude.
You got any golden nuggets there?
Yeah, dude. The one that I hate the most, sound wise, is like when you go to the dentist and them scratching at your teeth.
Oh,
that's to me is like one of the worst sounds because you can't get away from it, and you have to just suck it up through the whole thing of them just cleaning your teeth. And so, whatever reason, that's one of the few things I don't like about going to the dentist is because. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry for anyone that's like listening and they're like in pain with us.
Yes, dude. Isn't
I'm
that
sorry
horrible?
to drag you through this.
Man, dude. And then favorite sound is, I don't know why, but I like listening to the rain because we don't get it very much in the desert.
Yeah, totally. Rain's a beautiful sound.
Not just rain, like downpour.
Yeah, thunder and lightning, dude, is even cool to me because I don't see it very often here.
Absolutely. Oh, this was really fun and enlightening. I think this worked out. But now we will be right back after this commercial break. We've got Livio Ramondelli joining us for a little interview, a fun little interview. He came down to your store, actually, right, Kim?
Yes, we've kind of built this relationship with Livio for about, I want to say 10 years now. Mm-hmm. I had a buddy who he helps artists get their artwork out there to the public.
Cool.
And Pencil Ink Color, Danny Morales, if you're looking for good art or just wanting to get into collecting art, definitely look up his website, Pencil Ink Color, too. But he introduced me to Livio one time at a Comic-Con. He goes, dude, what do you think about this guy's art? I go, oh, my God, this guy's freaking amazing, dude. And it's like that because he knew I liked artwork, too, as well, my buddy Danny. And so he introduced me to him and started just talking to him. And he's like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I know you'll see that from our interview, and you guys got to experience it in person. But you can't not want to see this guy succeed.
Yeah.
And he's so down to earth. He's so easy to talk to. He knows a lot about pop culture. He visually understands what fans want to see, in my opinion. Yeah, and then recently he just had, after working on Transformers and Star Wars and doing a lot of different work, starting to be in the industry for a while now, he decided to publish his own title, Killock. And we were so excited to see his own product come out. We told him, like, hey, dude, it's sold out for us. I'd really like you to come down and, meet the people that are reading the comics. And he said, yeah, well, let's make it happen. And he came out this past weekend, which was, what the interview that we're going to be sharing with you today is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. His art's incredible. You'll see, guys will be able to see a link in the description. And, we did an episode a while back talking about like artists like we know and love, and like how much more fun it is to love and support an artist, like after you finally meet them and like, you learn more about them. Like it's so much more fun, just those human elements. I think that, helps us to connect with each other. And that's why you'll see in this interview too, like we do talk about, his art from Transformers and Star Wars and, and his IDW comic. But we also talk about pop culture, which was a lot of fun. We talked about his favorite movies, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it was a lot of fun, in our conversations there. So we'll be right back after this commercial break with Livio Ramondelli. And we are back. You're joined today by a very special guest, Livio Ramondelli.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And I said it right.
Well done, thank you.
I have a passion for pronouncing names correctly.
It's a hard name.
If you guys have never heard of this gentleman, we've got a link in the description. You're going to check out some of his art. The biggest thing right now is he has a new comic book called The Killock, and that's actually why you're down here in Phoenix right now.
I am,
right?
yeah.
We're doing a signing at Drawn to Comics.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
So let's start with some Killock for somebody just walking in. Like, what is that all about without any spoilers?
Sure. Yeah, it's an original science fiction story that I wrote and created and drew for IDW. 3 issues are out now of 6. And it's basically the concept is kind of like an R-rated Pixar movie. I was saying it's this idea of like 4 robot criminals have been exiled and like linked together. So if one of them dies, they all die. But it plays around with this kind of class system where it's classes of individuals who never normally get along. So you have a very like moral soldier with like a psychopath and then an addict, and it's them sort of protecting each other and kind of learning to get along while they search for a cure for their condition.
Very fun.
So yeah,
That's really interesting.
No, thanks.
Did you come up with that?
Yeah.
Whole thing?
Yep.
Where did that stem from?
The initial idea was just like what it would take to get really different people to truly care about each other. You know, like if you had a psychopath protect like a kid, like what would motivate that relationship? You know, and then making it robots, I thought was a way to kind of. Sci-fi is always this great metaphor for real world themes, you know, where you can pull it back. Because if it's human beings, it gets a little more uncomfortable, right? But with robots, I think they can have more of a sense of humor to it. So. Yeah.
Do you like drawing robots?
I do. I love it. Yeah.
Really? Maybe that was an obvious question. Livio has done a ton of work on Transformers, and if you haven't seen it, like these pieces are absolutely beautiful. Is Transformers something that you were into when you were younger?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I grew up with it, like G1. You know, I remember my mom would rent like the original animated movie for me. I think there was like one copy at a local store. We'd re-rent it on VHS, which sounds like I was born 200 years ago at this point.
Isn't that crazy?
It really is nuts.
That's funny that you say that too. I remember going to see that movie with my dad in the theater.
Right.
That was the first time I ever cried during a cartoon. Optimus Prime died.
I
In front of
still
all
have
those
trouble.
other Autobots. Is like, how do you? And my dad goes, "Ken, are you okay?" But that's Optimus Prime, Dad. He's the leader of the Transformers. He can't die.
I still have trouble watching that scene. Yeah, it's really sad.
rough.
Yeah.
But go ahead. That's all.
No, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it was funny because, like, also years later, I never would have thought I got to draw the Blu-ray cover for that movie coming out, which was crazy. Wow. Yeah, so I got interviewed on the disc and everything, but that was wild because I remember renting that as a kid.
And then that came full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
I was so excited to see your
Transformers
signature
project
too.
that you got to work on?
The first thing I got, and I thought at the time this may be the only thing I ever did, is IDW. Kind of one of the editors found me at a convention. I was set up in like Artist Alley.
Yeah.
I had just Transformers art out for fun, and Chris Ryle, who was an editor there at the time, he found me and he gave me his card. He's like, "Oh, you should submit to us." And I got hired like a week later to do this cover. It was a trade paperback called The Best of Optimus Prime.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It was like literally draw Optimus Prime however you want. No notes, nothing. And I was like, man, if this is the only thing I get to draw on Transformers, I'll die happy. This is great. And then I didn't know that would lead to 10 years of work, since then. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it was wild. Yeah.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I know, artists, when you're drawing like a person, you know that you have an arm and a leg. It's pretty
Sure.
Now, when you're drawing something like a transformer,
Yeah.
and where different parts of like a car is going to turn into this big robot.
Yeah.
When you're making it, do you just kind of just go with whatever? Like, how are you making like the arms or how things bend? Like, take me through like that thought process.
That's a good question. And there's definitely a reason why artists kind of like some are really good at machine robot characters and some are really good at humans. It's rare you find someone that's good at both. Like my people are not as good as my robots for sure. Like unquestionably. There's always an element of bending like physics a bit because if you take like an Optimus Prime toy, right? And you make him cross his arms, it's a really like weird looking pose. So like they just can't really do that. Like same with like a Doctor Doom toy. Like he can't really with that armor, he can't really do that. So you do cheat a bit, but you still want to make it look plausible kind of.
Right.
So in a way kind of the G1 characters are harder to draw than the live action Bay ones because the Michael Bay ones have a lot more sort of flexibility. The G1 stuff is kind of boxes, so it's tricky, but yeah. But I think everyone has their own kind of secret to it. But
Do you think it's easier because do you feel like you have more like free will to just kind of do whatever with the arms and stuff for the legs, or is it like do you feel like it's a little more constricting
with robots?
With robots.
Yeah, I think it depends on the robot design for sure because there's a variety. The original G1 Transformers are tricky because they are a lot of boxes generally that are connected by kind of a nebulous joint. You're not quite sure even now with some of the Transformers toys are so advanced they do the G1 design but they really make them flexible. It's pretty cool to look at because it kind of helps us. But it's tough. I mean it's like and sometimes it just works better than others. There's some drawings that like the motion looks more believable.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
What I love most about your art is you mix that perfect view of what we remember as a child with a cinematic feel.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Is that something like that you kind of envisioned in your own head? Like, how did you develop that almost like crossbred between like animation and cinema?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think it was like a evolution. Like I really like Ridley Scott and like David Fincher movies, like the atmosphere and stuff. And like I study that stuff like Blade Runner all the time, and I like trying to copy that or like learn from that and like put it into my own work. And I think even just when you're a kid and you watch like Transformers, you sort of put more detail in than what's actually there, you know. Like when you look at the stuff later as an adult, it's a little more simple. Not take away from the artist who made it, it's amazing, but I think like, you know, so when you get older, you're like, I want to do it as realistic as I thought it was when I was a kid, you know. So that's the hope, at least. But
that's incredible. I love it. So then, on the topic of Transformers,
Yes.
I want to hear what everyone's favorite Transformer is.
You want to go first?
Sure, go ahead. It's like that. I was always a big fan of Sideswipe. And Sideswipe, as a kid, I wanted to be a car designer. That's why I appreciate comic art so much, too, and art as well. It's like just that artistic ability to put from what's in your head onto paper was very hard for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I could look at things and copy it. When it came to like doing it out of my own head, it was almost impossible. Yeah. But I loved Lamborghinis as a kid. So Sideswipe and Sunstreaker were just, to me, two of my favorite. They're brothers. It's ironic they call them twins because they're not really twins at all. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
But Sideswipe, and I love the fact they didn't put Red Alert as part of the family. You know what I mean? Even though like Red Alert is like a modified Sideswipe. Yeah. But they transformed easy. They looked cool. They had the projecting missile. It was just Sideswipe was one of those ones like that was kind of like that was my transform, but not everybody. So like that. Oh, I love Optimus. You know, I love Megatron. So I did Sideswipe, Hot Rod, and then third was Jetfire. Were my three favorites.
What was that face?
Well, Optimus is mine. I know it's like the easy one, like, but I mean, he's Optimus Prime. Like, is there much more to say after that?
Yes.
I mean, I think as a kid, it was just more about like how he looked than anything else. You know, like, because especially like I'm a huge Iron Man fan too. So like, I'm all about like cool technology and flying around. Especially as a little kid, I was just like, yeah, Iron Man and Iron Suit, whatever. But Optimus Prime is just cool. The colors and he's just awesome. You know, he's a leader, which is always great. Like, Iron Man, the leader of the Avengers. So I guess there's some similarities there. You know.
Yeah. Optimus is my favorite also, actually. Okay. Yeah, like I love that character. Like he was like the father figure to like so many generations, you know. Yes. And then Soundwave is like a very close second. Like just love the voice and the idea of like I always like that you had like an instant army could come out of your chest. It's like really cool. Like it's like a really cool idea. But
you guys are much more versed in Transformers lore than I have. As far as actual Transformers, like I like Megatron.
Yeah. Good choice. Yeah.
Shocker. You always love the bad guy.
But if if this counts, I really liked Cheetor in the Beast Wars spin-off.
Nice.
So I don't know if that counts. And I know everyone's going to start deleting us for me saying Cheetor.
A lot of Beast Wars fans out there.
I was recently watching just a clip on YouTube because we were talking about it beforehand. I was like, wow, like I remember this being so much better when I was younger. The graphics are just so bad.
Well, it was so far ahead of its time, though. I mean, Beast Wars was the first 3D animation cartoon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, right? Amazing. Yeah.
So you also had the opportunity to work on Star Wars.
I did.
Were you a Star Wars fan?
Absolutely.
As a kid?
Yeah, that. Probably even more so than Transformers.
So then getting that opportunity had to have been
incredible. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet because I only did a couple covers for Dark Horse, and it was right. Yeah, it was right after they announced that the license was going back from Dark Horse to Marvel. So it was like I was really thrilled to do it, but it was kind of like the writing was on the wall a little bit that it was the end of the Dark Horse era. But I was still very, very thankful to do it. I mean, I love Star Wars. I do tons of Star Wars paintings for fun. Like that's one of the things I just do, not even paid.
I love your Star Wars stuff. That's probably some of my favorite. He's got this. I think it's Darth Vader. Is it on Hoth?
On Hoth, yeah.
It's incredible.
Oh, thanks.
So you guys will be able to check that out in the link of the description. So if you can, there's lots of Star Wars books right now that are out for Marvel. Like if you could do a cover for any one of the characters.
That's a good question. I mean, more Star Wars would be amazing. I was a huge Venom fan growing up, like the original classic Eddie Brock Venom.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
That's one of my favorite characters. Doctor Doom, and then probably Galactus. Those are like probably my top choices. I could do anything. So,
Is it Galactus because of the robot? The robot aspect of it? Not that he's a robot.
Sure. The look. I think it's that next. I always love that cosmic world destroyer idea. Just so many untold stories out there we could do. You know.
I think your style of art would be like perfect for Galactus.
Oh, thanks.
Like that whole like just taking over a planet or something like that, that would be amazing.
Thanks.
Another one of my. Oh, go ahead.
Is that those are like one of those things? Those are your characters that you really want to do that you haven't done yet?
Yeah, I mean,
have you done them though?
I have done them online. Yeah.
Okay.
There's art out there online. I've never actually like drawn them professionally, those ones, but yeah, I remember reading Marvels in high school and seeing the Alex Ross Galactus paintings, and it was like how unbelievably real it looks, like the scale of him in New York, and just thinking that was incredible.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
So you've kind of already touched on a couple of things from one of these questions I want to ask you. The artists that you looked up to that kind of, because I think any artist, like when they're young, like they first, pick up a comic book and, they maybe copy the art. Like, who are those artists to you? Who do you think are the artists that made you the artist you are?
Sure. I mean, I think the classic guys like Todd McFarlane, like Jim Lee, like which is, I was lucky, very lucky professionally twice. One with Transformers, and also my first job out of school was getting hired by Jim Lee, who was right after school, and he was one of my heroes. I'd never met him. I'd never I was going to school in San Francisco. I'd never even visited San Diego, and I got this offer to work at Wildstorm because they were doing the DC Universe Online video game.
Wow!
So they were crewing up this team to design Metropolis and Gotham City, and Jim Lee was art directing it.
Nice.
And it was my first job at it. And I was like, oh my god, like yes, 100%, yes, I'll take that job. And that was incredible because I learned so much. I didn't even do comic conventions before that, like setting up art. I went for fun, but that introduced me to everything since then. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
Jim Lee's like one of those guys that you feel that he really wants to bring up other artists in the industry as well.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. Like my really talented friend Eddie Nunez. Like Jim discovered him based on his MySpace page. This is how far back we're talking. He just had drawings up. Jim Lee was cruising MySpace, saw this really talented guy, and offered him an internship at Wildstorm. It's incredible.
He's looking for the next great group of artists. Yes,
and he picks. I mean, and Eddie Nunez is an amazing talent. I mean, he picks great people. Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah.
But found you too as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So MySpace did make a contribution.
I know. Yeah. I'm just saying it out loud. I'm like, man, that was a while ago.
That's also kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
So you mentioned going to conventions and stuff, and I'm sure you've had the opportunity to meet plenty of people. At conventions. But is there anything you like to say to your followers that you haven't met?
Any of my followers, say to them, just please, if you see me at a convention, come on up, say hello. Thank you for reading and supporting everything I'm working on. So, yeah.
So you also mentioned, bringing up the next generation here, and it's probably important for artists to, once you are in this hill of wisdom and you look for the next generation.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for young aspiring artists? Aside from post everything on social media.
Sure. Yeah. I mean that was going to be my first, is like have an online presence and make sure it's professional looking. If that's what you want to do, make sure your page is like. If you want to draw for a living, make sure your page is art and it's not like you getting drunk and then a drawing. It's like really keep, because you never know who's going to be looking at your page, like the internet's written in ink and that. And then I think also if you get an opportunity, make sure you follow up with it, So if you meet an editor and they give you a chance, like really make the deadline that they're giving you. Because I know a lot of talented people that have blown a lot of chances, So it's not so much how good you are as an artist. It's like, are you reliable? Are you easy to work with?
100%. And I've worked in the creative industry for a very long time, and I usually stick to the same few contractors, designers, whatever. And then if somebody screws me because of, and then that makes me look bad on my client's end. I didn't come through on this deadline. I'm not going to hire you again because now you're dragging my name through. The mud or whatever. So being reliable, I'm just seconding that.
Oh, yes. I would. There's probably only like 2 or 3 artists I know that I would feel comfortable giving something important to. Like that's the level, and I count very good friends among that crew. It's it's just like you can't trust some people with their time management, and it's crazy. But
a lot of people forget this is not just a talent, it's a job. And heard that going to conventions, I like to follow a lot of who's going to be the next upcoming big artist. It's kind of like minor league baseball. You kind of pick out players that are coming up, like this guy's going to be an all-star because of his work ethic. And it's the same thing in any line of work, especially art. I think a lot of artists really get caught in the rut of well, why don't they like the way I do it?
Yeah.
And then part of it is like I see people bring their portfolios to artists at conventions, or they bring it to like the editors, and they say, well, I don't like this, or that.
Yeah.
And they kind of close up their book and they walk away.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it's like this is their passion.
Yeah.
But second of all, they want to see whether you can take constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And a lot of people with that, like in any job that you have, if you want to do professionally, you have to be able to listen as much as you like to create.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to learn, and this is not just art. It's in music, voiceover, video production. If you want to be a Twitch streamer, any of these things, like your hustle is really important. I know now we're getting into this fatherly advice.
I'm sorry. But that could help the next big artist.
It's incredibly important.
Yes.
Like, don't think no matter how good you are, don't think you're so good that you cannot improve.
Yes,
like there's always room to improve, and all the best people in any of these industries that I mentioned are always improving, always practicing. Have that hustle, because if you have to want it more than the next guy. There's a lot of people who want to be an artist, but it's not just sit here and draw for fun. Like it's work.
I can say from personal experience, like watching Jim Lee, he would look at the youngest people if they were drawing something, the most inexperienced people. He'd be like, "Oh, how'd you do that line? Like, show me how you did that." Even at his level, he was constantly, and that's why he's so amazing. Like always learning. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that was a gem of
Can I make one more comment on that?
Please.
It's just called management.
Yeah.
If you can be managed, you can learn to manage. And like if you can help learn the skills that they're trying to teach you and do it well, you'll be able to help other people succeed the same way, and it makes your name that much better.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just you have to be a sponge. You have to be able to absorb, and you should always ask questions. I think that's the biggest thing in any industry. It doesn't even have to be art, sports, just working at a regular job. You should always ask questions. Something happens. Why did that happen?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it this way instead of this way? Just ask questions, and that'll lead to you learning and developing more as an artist or whatever it is that you're trying to do. I think it's really important, especially if you do, like you said, if you go up to a big artist and he points something out and you just walk away, no one's ever going to talk to you, because that just means you're uncoachable. And once you get that label of being uncoachable, nobody's going to work with you ever again. I've seen it happen. I played college baseball. There's been kids who are amazing baseball players, and they don't listen to their coach. They were labeled as uncoachable. They try transferring to another school. The school will contact the coach. Hey, what's up with this kid? Yeah, he's not really. Don't want nothing to do with him. Like, his kid should be Division I. He can't even get a Division III into a Division III school because everyone thinks he's uncoachable. So a big thing is personality. It's not always talent. It's also about how you handle yourself.
Yeah.
Communication's key.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on a more lighter note, now that we've preached at y'all, but
that's part of life.
No, this is the great. This was all fantastic advice tonight, and I absolutely love this. This is a pop culture podcast. Gosh, I feel like I just woke up. This is a Pop-Tart,
right? Pop-Tart culture.
This is a Pop-Tart podcast. My goodness, pop culture podcast. And like we said before, I always find it fun to kind of get to know like artists that I love and follow. So I have a list of a few things to ask you here. So you're a comic book artist, so surely you have a favorite superhero.
I do. I think it'd be Batman.
Okay.
I grew up probably more of a Spider-Man guy, but there is something to getting older where you sort of relate a little bit more to kind of like the brooding, not rich person because I'm not there, but like the brooding older guy. I still love Spider-Man, but I think Batman is probably the one that's my favorite right now.
What got you into Batman?
I think, so as a kid, I was Spider-Man, X-Men, and then as I got older, I think in high school, I was aware of Batman. I love the animated series. That was really what got me into it. And then I think, I still worship the animated series, but I think Dark Knight Returns, when I read that, I was like, oh man, I'd never read something that like mature,
Yeah.
But the animated series, that's one of the best things ever made. Yeah.
Yeah, I think between that and the first Burton movie, that's what got me into Batman when I was a kid. I don't like Batman as much now, but like when I was a kid, I was like, and I had nightmares about Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah.
As stupid as that sounds.
No, I remember I was 9 when that came out, and that was still an amazing movie. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite snack food? You don't have to pick one if that's what makes this difficult.
Can it be a liquid?
Oh yeah.
Okay, probably Diet Mountain Dew.
That's totally. I mean, there's so much sugar. It's almost.
It's almost regular Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Diet Mountain Dew. Wow.
Yeah. I don't really snack a lot on solids. I mean, but Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah, too much.
Do you play video games at all?
I do. Yeah.
Is there anything you're playing right now?
Not right now. I did Red Dead Redemption 2, which I loved. And
it took forever to install. And then,
yeah,
It's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just did Fallen Order, the last Star Wars game.
I'm a couple planets in.
I was really surprised by how like emotional that game was.
Yeah?
Like I thought it was really, really good.
I just started. How about favorite video game of all time?
Oh man, I mean, I grew up like Super Nintendo, so all the but I think probably Mass Effect 2 might be my favorite. Like, have you guys ever played it?
I did play it. It's a very, very in-depth game. It's something to really get into. Yeah.
Did you beat it?
Because I did not. I played it for like a couple hours. That was back when I think like Halo was out too. So it was like Halo was just taking up my entire life at that point.
It was like the end of it that really like the emotional, because you basically go around, you assemble a crew. You're kind of like Han Solo getting a crew to your ship, and you go to different planets and you do missions to get their loyalty. But by the end of it, if you haven't been paying attention about like what their skill set is, you watch these characters die like one after another, and it's really emotional the way they do it. Yeah, because there's like alternate paths, you know. So like if your engineer's like, make sure you armor the engine there. If you miss that and you don't do it, your like engine explodes and kills the engineer.
Jeez.
It's like it's
hardcore.
It's really riveting. There's a part in the third one where you have a choice. So you're on the third game now. There's alien species you've met consistently. Like in the first Mass Effect, the memory is saved all the way to the third game. So like choices you made in the first game affect you in the third game. There was a choice in the third game where I had to pause the game and just think about it. You have a choice. You have to blow up one planet, kill an entire civilization, or the other, and you know people on both planets for 3 games. Wow. So I remember I was like pausing it, and leaving the room, and be like it's incredible. Like
that's kind of stuff is why I stopped.
Yeah.
Sick.
3 games of continuity.
So I'm a huge like RPG guy. Like if I had to play like one genre of video games the rest of my life, it'd be an RPG.
Yeah.
So I was like, Mass Effect, awesome. You pick what you say basically during every conversation. And it has a little change the outcome.
Yeah.
But I started getting into it, and there was so much that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know like where to go. And then I would just be like, I'd try looking it up online real quick, but some of them are like timed, so you don't even have the chance to like try to look up what could happen or couldn't happen. And I think I just got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to chill out for a second. And I was just scared to come back to it, but it is something that's definitely, if you've never played it, you definitely need to try it, because it's such a great series.
It's like, I have to commit mass genocide. Who should I choose?
Yeah.
Dude. Like Emperor Palpatine with a good twist.
I know, right?
It's like, I thought it was a good Palpatine. This is what it would be like.
We really haven't talked a lot about music at all on Nightcap Chat, but I feel like some artists like to listen to music when they draw. Is that something that's true for you?
I mean, a lot of them do. I'm less a music guy, but what I listen to a lot of when I draw is like audio commentaries on movies. Like I love those. Nice. Like just like 2 hours of like Ridley Scott or like Francis Ford Coppola talking to you. Like I love that you're absorbing information while drawing. You don't have to like really look at something. So those are my favorite things. Like yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, I like music, but it's not, to me, I'm more kind of into that stuff. But a lot of artists do.
That's really neat. You ever watch Lord of the Rings?
Oh, yeah.
I was literally about to ask that.
Yeah, all those.
You ever watch the commentary?
Yeah.
That was literally like, it was almost arguably as good as the movie. The commentary for
amazing.
And it was like, how long was it? It was like 6 hours.
Well, so there's commentary and then plus all the extra appendices stuff. And there's so many good stories because they were just hanging out in New Zealand for what, like a year or 2
over years.
Yeah. Have you
I haven't seen the commentary.
It's incredible.
Wow.
It's incredible,
And they're hysterical, like especially like all the stuff the guy who plays Pippin and Mary, like they have such good chemistry just in real life, and they're like playing pranks on each other and they're making fun of each other, and there's even this one little skit, I'm going a little off topic here, where they're like on a little lunch break between shots, and they keep coming in and out of the shot, and they're all like talking trash about the next one who they're just like, oh yeah, Dom's an idiot, and they're like, oh hey, you're back. It's hysterical. I mean, it's worth watching. Like, if you've never seen it,
we start watching this. I haven't watched many.
Nice. That's amazing.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should have saw that coming.
Yeah.
Follow up or no? What rank?
Oh man, I have trouble with that. Like
we recently did a whole episode where we ranked them all.
Well, here's the question: what if you were going to show it to young kids now that you have all these movies? Would you do prequels first?
Okay, I have a very strong opinion on this.
Fire.
It's got to be 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, because you don't get the Darth Vader twist in Empire.
Yeah.
I know it's chronological.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But you realize Anakin becomes Vader at the end. And then... So if you don't get the reveal of...
If you watch them in a row.
Have you heard the order that's 4, 5, and then you go 1, 2, 3 as an extended flashback, and then you do 6? That's kind of an interesting idea. Because you get the reveal, then you get this long backstory. But I wonder if a kid would be so confused about where we left off.
I think you just got to finish the trilogy.
Yeah, and then...
You know. But I mean, maybe it's like, whoa, like... Anakin is Obi-Wan was lying and this and that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
You might try that now. Like watch 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Interesting idea.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched also? There's this thing on YouTube I've watched 100 times. It's like it's an edit of Obi-Wan telling Luke about his dad from A New Hope, but it's prequel footage but cut to like the most emotional music ever.
I know. I
It's
just got
like,
chills
dude,
thinking
right?
about it.
It's like riveting. Have you guys seen it?
No, I haven't seen that.
Dude, it is like
bit.
it's just incredible. I mean, it's just shots from the prequels, but with this music, it is like it's like you start crying. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Which shows you how much, if you have certain artists on the set to do different things, how we can just completely change it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of art's perspective, right?
Yeah.
You can sit 3 different artists down to tell them all the same thing, and you'll have 3 completely different, outcomes.
Yeah.
So I don't have this written down, but since we're on Star Wars, do you watch Clone Wars?
I do.
Or Rebels?
Yeah. I've seen all of Clone Wars. I've seen a lot of Rebels, but not everything.
So you like Clone Wars better? Huh?
I just have to get caught up. I mean, I think I started with the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, before it became, and I love
2D
those.
one.
The 2D,
Yeah.
And then I went into the 3D after that, but I just have to get caught up on Rebels. I like it all, but
No,
I know you do. The Thrawn shirt, I assume.
I'm wearing a Thrawn shirt. Honestly, Rebels. Hearing he was coming to Rebels is what got me into Thrawn.
Oh, interesting.
And then there was a book. So then I was like, okay, like I'm not caught up on Rebels. I watched like some of season 1. I'm gonna read the book. I love the new book, not Heir to the Empire. I haven't read that yet, admittedly.
Yeah.
I read the new Timothy Zahn book, the first one that recently came out. And then I started watching Rebels, and it's like the book went right into Rebels, and it was so much fun. And like, there's all these little details that happened in the book where like he starts practicing some kind of Star Wars judo thing with Governor Price. And there's a judo scene, and it's just like a little thing that you really wouldn't think anything of, but like there were so many things set up. Like it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Disney, sometimes people give Disney flack for this new canon, but like there's so many things that are just well managed. Like they're really figuring out like this person's here, and like everything is just flowing really fun.
Yeah, agreed.
I've got one more question. Do you guys have any other fun little questions before I ask this? Because I know this is going to be a big conversation.
No, just go for it.
Okay. What are you watching on Netflix or any other streaming service right now?
I just watched Don't F with Cats, which was way more disturbing and interesting than I expected.
It was. I didn't even want to watch it.
Same. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to turn it off as soon as I see an animal about to be tortured. And I was like, I could not believe how riveting that was. Like, I mean, it was an incredible documentary with like a true supervillain. It was a real person.
My wife was watching it because she was figured like, as I didn't want to watch it. So she watches things, by herself. And I was sitting there playing Overwatch. And I kept looking over like, what is going on? So I pulled off one of my ears of the headset. I don't know what that's called, just so I can listen while I'm playing Overwatch. And like, I kept getting distracted and almost booted from like almost every match. Like, oh my gosh, that's messed up. Oh, this guy is disturbed.
Yeah.
And then his mother, without spoiling it, like she's even more disturbed. Probably, I don't even know.
She's in denial.
Yeah.
They like our staff was talking about it at the store.
Yeah.
And they love cats. A couple of them are just like huge cat lovers.
Yeah.
And they're saying, "Oh my gosh, it's so good."
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it's not what you expect.
No.
And you thought it was just going to be about like trying to catch this cat killer, but it turns into like just that closing statement of the lady that says it's your fault, and are you the one to be like, it's like that.
Yeah.
It was just, it seemed she was even a little bit crazy obsessive because she was going, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like that ego is like, you're not trying to help the situation. You're just trying to use your ego to say like that, you should listen to me.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a little bit, everything about it was a little bit self-centered in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like the kid was self-centered. The mom was like in denial. The people that were trying to investigate, the only guy I felt like that was truly trying to find this guy for good reasons was that the guy in California.
The guy, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, like the guy that was trying to help with this other lady that was kind of like that. A little bit of a prima donna in her own way. And then that end scene, I go, why would you end it with that?
Yeah.
And it was very kind of disturbing even to that point at the end.
I thought it was.
Sorry, just without saying too many spoilers.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really effective too at showing how these people start off at a very, very good cause of like we're going to find this cat killer, but how much even through the safety of the internet, how much your own life can be really threatened.
Yes.
I mean, like that like quote, like you gaze at the abyss and it gazes back. It's like, oh man, like you're not as anonymous and safe as you think. I mean, yeah, it was really disturbing.
If somebody touched my cat.
The same.
I would literally. I love Pixel. He's my little
your
night
animals
trainer.
are your children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pixel's a good name. My cat's
He's a munchkin cat.
Oh, is he?
That's adorable.
That's adorable.
That's why I named him Pixel. I'll actually pull up a picture.
Oh, nice.
So you have a cat?
I have a cat. Yeah, he's about 7 months old. He's new, but his name's Harvey Dent.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Which yeah. Well, when we first got him, he was so tiny, so it was cute to name this cat this grizzled old man name. But now he's gigantic. He's like 11 pounds, so he kind of fits his name more. Oh my God, it's adorable. How old is Pixel?
He's a year and a half now.
Oh wow, that's adorable.
That's as big as his legs get. Last time he stands up.
Oh my God, that's really
for
cute.
treats and stuff. He's everything that goes on in my life just revolves around him basically now.
That's great. That's great.
So, Livio, in our closing statements here, how can people find out more and follow you on social media and all that fun jazz?
Oh yeah, so Instagram is probably where I'm most active. It's just my full name, Livio Ramondelli, which is hard to say and spell, but if you Google will help.
Reference the link in
Yes.
the description here.
And then Twitter as well, but Instagram is really the one I use the most often.
For sure.
So
Website?
it's LivioRamondelli.com. It's just kind of basic information. Although I did just start a YouTube channel for Kill Lock stuff. So I put up audio commentaries because I love listening to those. So I made some. So if you're reading through the comic, you can listen to my thoughts.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah,
That's an
awesome.
incredible idea.
Thanks.
I
Thanks.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So the first 3 are up right now, and then there's a couple time lapse of me drawing on there too. So yeah.
Very cool. Well, Livio, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and be a part of Nightcap Chat. Hopefully we'll have you on again.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
But thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but like I had so much fun interviewing Livio. I mean, and Lance, like, he has some good questions there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he was a great guy, and he was really informative. And I'm actually super excited. I haven't been able to read his comic yet, but it's something that I really want to, like, after just talking to him about, I really want to get into. It's something that's a unique, different idea that I think is going to be something special.
Yeah, for sure. But that's about all the time we have for today. Livio, thank you so much for joining us on Nightcap Chat. We look forward to all your future successes, and we'll certainly be, following along and, talking about all the future escapades that we know you'll be experiencing. And, hopefully we'll even have you on a future episode as well. But we appreciate you all taking the time to listen and share and subscribe. If you do enjoy Nightcap Chat, please leave a review, especially on iTunes. Reviews, allow us to be featured more prominently, and which allows us to be more and more successful. We're at Nightcap Chat on Facebook and Twitter, and at Nightcap_chat on Instagram. And of course, Nightcap Chat is available on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, Castbox, and wherever podcasts are given away for free, wherever they pull their iTunes feed from.
Cool. And you can find everything you need to about Drana Comics at dranacomics.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And just reach out to us and ask anything you want about comics. Come in the store. We got a great selection of product that is comic book related, toys, anything, you love about the world of comics we want to be able to share with you. And we thank you for checking us out.
Yeah, and you can see me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Tales of Lance, and you can come check me out. And I'm also on Instagram at o'neil.lance on Instagram.
Thank you all for joining us, and we will catch you all next week with our St. Patrick's Day episode. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you.